Hello, everyone. Welcome to Real Talk with Tia and Jill. And we have a very special guest today. Elena, welcome. Welcome to Real Talk.
Thank you, Jill and Tia, for having me on Real Talk Live this morning. It's an honor to be here. And first and foremost, I would like to congratulate both of you on celebrating your fourth anniversary as Catalyst Food Leaders. The work that you do within our industry to empower and inspire food safety professionals and leaders is so instrumental to being a community and being effective in food safety. So thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. We appreciate that.
We
really
do. You know, it's been quite a journey for us, and we love every minute of it. And I don't want to say like we're not doubling down, but maybe doubling down a bit on our commitment to it, which is in part why I love how you're like Catalyst Food Leaders.
Yes.
Because we just launched our new logo and a few changes to our website and our branding to really better represent where we serve, who we serve. Because while our roots did start in food safety, we have people from all across the industry that have gone through our programs and in our workshops and that we work with. And I think that just is a testament to kind of like how we started here with it takes a village. Like if we are going to be successful as a food industry, it's not just food safety professionals that can step into leadership different. It's all the people around us. And we are happy to serve in this space and help with that transformation.
Yes, we are.
I love that.
Yes. And we need all leaders, right, to kind of step in. And we're uniquely positioned to help the industry step into these spaces because we've worked cross-functional in other spaces. Right. We've connected with other functions and we understand, right, the importance of it, but the excitement of it, but also the dread, right? And the hard part and the things, right, that just gets us overwhelmed and burnt out and exhausted, right? I know people understand those feelings regardless of what function they work in. And we know when there's strong leadership, those things of being exhausted, right? We're still tired, right? We're still tired working, but the feeling of exhausted and being overworked and not having this balance between our well-being, that doesn't have to exist, right? That doesn't have to exist. And that falls squarely on leadership and how we lead and how we show up and how we get work done. And like Jill said, we love playing in this space. We're passionate about it. And we can't wait to do more. Wait to do more in this space. So thank you for that. We appreciate that.
I love that. Your passion is so inspiring to so many, and the impact that you make is just tremendous. So thank you to you both.
Thank you. And we love being here because this is also how we met you.
Yes.
Right. Just kind of in this space where we're all like, how do we do things different? How do we share our stories? Because, there are people who still are like, I feel like it's just happening to me. Like this is a struggle that I'm having alone. And even if I'm doing okay, but is there something better?
Yeah.
Like that's kind of what brought us together. And so that in itself has been a gift, not just to talk about food safety, but I know we've even shared some things about, just things we do with cooking and our culture and like it's the whole person. So it's been an honor to be able to have you in our space as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's really about that human connection.
It really is. It really is. And the more we bring in that human connection to the work that we do and how we interact even outside of work, that's when we really start seeing real progress, right? That's when we start seeing solutions that work for all, when we have those conversations and, like you said, have those human connections because we're all humans, right? And we all want to live and work and be happy and have balance and do the things we want to do. We all want that and we all can have that, right? We just have to work together to get it.
It definitely takes all of us. Like Jill said, it takes a village. So I'm happy to be part of this village and community that we've built together.
Thank you so much. We're so excited to have you on the show today because we know just from your experience, right? There's so much that our audience can learn from and take in. And we're so happy that you're here today to share that with our audience.
And there may be people in the audience who are like, okay, we have not met Elena yet. So how about we start there? Would you, start just by introducing yourself and, your journey to even where you are today?
Thank you, Jill. My name is Elena Montoya, and I started my food safety career in 2018. I have experience in manufacturing and distribution and storage and distribution. The primary focus of my career has been sanitation, but today I want to share with you all how one choice can change your entire life. I remember this day like it was yesterday. It was 2019, and new jobs had just been posted on the job board at my facility. One of the roles was for a full-time processing operator. At that time, I was a backup processing operator for that particular line. Another role that was available was a sanitation coordinator or supervisor. Naturally, I applied for them both. A little while later that week, I came across my quality assurance manager in the hallway, and she says, Elena, we noticed that you happen to apply for both of the roles. If you had to choose, which one do you want? And in that same breath, almost without even thinking, I responded sanitation. And in that thought, in that action, I wasn't thinking, what if I fall? I was thinking, what if I fly? Because I already knew how to be a processing operator. I was proficient at it, despite the fact I was a backup, but I wanted to learn something new. I'm very curious by nature, as you guys probably see on my LinkedIn. And I never realized how in that very moment, that conversation, that choice, how much my life was about to change, how this would become a calling for me. And I am eternally grateful that she took a chance on me, knowing I didn't have any experience. But I still continue to send her messages of gratitude and thanks as I share my achievements and accomplishments throughout the years via messages. So,
wow.
To all you hiring managers out there, sometimes you really just have to look and find the passion in people and take a chance on them.
Wow. Like you stumbled into sanitation and ultimately into the food safety world because you wanted to learn something new.
I love a challenge.
And a challenge I'm sure you found.
And you picked a good area to have that.
Yes.
Yes. That's amazing. I think it just shows how open you are, which we need, right? We need in sanitation, we need in the field is someone to be open and willing to learn. And I'm curious, like, as you stepped into that role, how did your willingness to learn and be curious help you on board to that role?
Well, during that process, it was a lot of learning. I mean, I dug right in. I was reading every document they had. I was learning about the different regulatory and different governing agencies that go hand in hand with sanitation. But I really went into sanitation and food safety thinking everybody knew far more than I did, which they did, but I really thought they knew like everything. And that is really what inspired me to continuous improvement, constant learning, reading, taking certifications, talking to people, asking other people for advice. I had a lot of mentors still have mentors, but that helped guide me. And that's been instrumental in that continuous improvement and just education and learning process.
Yeah, I love that.
So 7 years later, I'm curious, what surprised you most on this journey?
I think one of the biggest surprises, like when I get a new role or take on a new facility, is you continue to hear, that's how we've always done it. I'm sure that's a favorite phrase of all of ours. But just realizing that, they may be doing it that way for all these years because they don't have proper leadership. The leadership that they have isn't knowledgeable, passionate, experienced. They may be doing it that way. And oftentimes, the thing that I find the most is that they've never had training. They lack documentation. The majority of my experience in my career has been they don't have SSOPs. They don't have SOPs. They don't have working instructions. They don't have job aids. They never receive proper onboarding, or oftentimes they don't have the right tools. I can't get mad at somebody for cross-contamination if they only have one color coded tool, and that's to be used from raw to finished product. So at that point, it's really important for me, and I think for all leaders, not to assign blame, not to criticize. They are doing the best they can with what they have been taught or the tools that they've been provided. So at that point, I really just want to dig in, work side by side with my team, and let them know that I'm there to support them, and we are going to fix this together because I need their help in order to make this work, and we're a team.
I love that. You're speaking our language, right? You're speaking our language of leadership, of like, we're in this together, right? We are a team. And it's important for people to feel that, right? And with you being beside them, being there along the way, and even voicing that to them helps them get on the same page of like, yeah, we are on the team. And you're absolutely right about the blame game. Right? I literally just said this to someone where, like, as a leader, right, the blame is not anyone else but yourself, right? That's literally the responsibility we take on as leaders. Like, leadership is not easy. It's hard. And a part of that hardness is that it is on us. And I love the way you think about it, where you talk about, did we give them the right tools for success? Right? It's hard to get mad at someone for, like you said, cross-contamination when we did not even give them the tools to prevent it. And so as leaders, that's just so important. It's like, yes, check. You're definitely speaking our language.
Thank you. I know for myself in that first year, that really deep, steep learning curve, I made mistakes. I didn't inspect what I expected. Oftentimes, somebody would leave without doing their recleans. I was out on that floor, intermingled with all the equipment and the accessories, doing those recleans. And it really taught me how to become more effective, more efficient, and really just being able to develop those leadership skills. And oftentimes if something went wrong, which it did, I would have to take responsibility. I didn't shift the blame. Oh, well, so-and-so left without doing their recleans, or they didn't put the equipment away, or they lost one of the pieces. That is my.
Yes.
Yeah. Elena, I think that you've hit on a spot that I think not all leaders do. Like, logically, we know we're responsible for different areas or what people are doing, but it's not until you truly kind of internalize the ownership related to that.
Yes.
That you truly put on the leadership hat.
100%.
And truly know, like, when that fails, when that goes wrong, that comes all back to me. It doesn't mean that I'm going to do it all right the next time. It doesn't mean that I can solve it all right now, but we still have to realize, like, that's me.
Yes. Yeah. I think Elena is frozen on my end.
Oh, she might be. Oh, all right. Well, she'll come on back.
She will come back. Hi, Brian. We see you. We see you out there.
We do. Yep. Passion and hard work they definitely win every time.
They really do. They really do. That passion behind what we do is just so important. Connected, right, with hard work, right, and work, and not just hard work, but working in the same direction, right? I don't want to say right direction, because what's right for an organization or for a team is different. But when you're marching towards this common goal and this same North Star, that's how we like to talk about it, even within Catalyst, like marching towards the same North Star, things start to align.
Yeah, and I think that passion that Elena hit on is part of what drives that,
Yes.
right? When we have passion, we can help be
Yes.
in that direction versus, well, I don't really care. I'm just going to go this way while you go that way. We'll
Right.
see. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Mhm.
Well, when we get her back, I would love, I know our topic is from high heels to steel toes. So I would
Mhm.
love for her to even dig into why we named this episode this way.
Yes,
Oh,
absolutely.
here she comes.
All
We're
right.
invite her back in. Hello.
Apparently,
Welcome back.
I had a power blip, so I was like, "Let me join from my phone," and I didn't want to keep you waiting.
No
No
worries.
worries. We completely understand. This is technology.
That's right. Here to make our lives easier.
Right. Well, one thing that I would love for you to share is our title, right? From high heels to steel toes. I would love for you to let our audience know why that is the title of today's show.
So, high heels to steel toes, it represents my transition from my first career, which was as an residential interior designer, to sanitation. And it's reflective of the attire and PPE that I would wear to work or wouldn't wear. And it was a massive transformation, as I had never worked in an industrial setting before.
Mm.
So change from going to wearing Burberry and Tiffany and Chanel to work to a chemical suit and safety glasses and hearing protection and a hairnet.
Yes. And I think that just represents even like the physical transformation you had to do, right? The type of
Mhm.
clothes that you wear, right? I remember thinking after college, I remember specifically saying, I'm going to have money so I can get my nails done, so now I'm going to be able to afford these things. And then I work in food and it's like, okay, you can't, you can't have nail polish. You can't have any of these things. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'll spend that money on travel. But but it's one of those things, right, where it even you had to shift what you were doing and what you were learning, but also you had to change even your physical,
Mhm.
right? How you show up every day. And sometimes that's hard for people
Mhm.
to shift.
That mind shift really encompassed a lot of things, and one of those things was going from working with couples and families, very intimate settings and relationships, to then becoming the leader of a team of 17 or 18. So navigating team dynamics and developing leadership skills, those were some challenges and some opportunities, but those were also very rewarding because I grew as I experienced nurturing the growth in my team, and it was so impactful, and it's something I'm still working at, becoming a better leader.
Yeah, yeah. I
Well,
mean,
you're not alone in that. I think, I love when we talk about, or we hear others talk about, even people who are kind of the natural born leaders or people that we see that we consider great leaders. It didn't just happen. Like
Mhm.
they actively work on it, on themselves and how they interact with people to really be viewed and have this perception of a great leader, because it's not something that just osmotically comes to us.
right, right. And even a comment someone posted, like, you have people who care on your team when they bring up these issues to you themselves. And they talked about that they have been nothing but grateful to their teams when they would tell me what they needed. And I think that takes time, right? But that also takes leadership skills to be able to develop those relationships, those safe spaces, right?
Mhm.
Most of the time, people do want to advocate for themselves. They want to tell you what they need, but they struggle because they're not sure, are they going to be shut down? Are they going to lose their job? Are they going to be reprimanded? Is anyone going to listen to them? Are they just
Mhm.
speaking into the wind? So when you talk about leadership skills, right, and the importance of that as you are shifting into a new role, right, early on in your career, but then throughout your career as you have led teams, that is so important to do so that you can continue to have those human interactions that we talked about earlier.
Mhm.
Well, and I think that goes back to probably many instances where these team members or people within a facility have voiced their cares or concerns or provided suggestions or asked for tools or implementation of different practices, and they are essentially just shut out or shut down, or they become the squeaky wheel, and they don't feel that support. They don't feel that they're being empowered or heard, and that their opinions don't matter.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes.
You know, and through your work, you've helped rebuild food safety across different brands. You know, so even as you're talking about some of these challenges, like not being supported or being valued, like, are there other challenges that you've seen companies that they're facing, you know, as they are trying to really, because it's shifting to build a culture to support whether it's food safety or innovation or insert
Yeah.
business goals?
I think one of the biggest challenges initially when you are working through that rebuilding process, which I love, some people, they either love it or they hate it, but you're never getting a program or a facility or a department when things are working well. You are getting something broken that requires an absolute foundation change. And I love taking something broken and making it beautiful. I love creating order out of chaos. I thrive in that space.
Yeah.
So, one of the things that I'll notice first and foremost is morale. And I can directly link that depreciated morale to the time that that facility has went unkept and really uncleaned.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a welcoming environment. Nobody likes being at work. They feel that leadership isn't involved, leadership doesn't care. Maybe they have too often or too much change in leadership. So there's this
Yeah.
instability within the facility and company. So with that, I really like to, again, just get out and make sure that I'm connecting one on one with my team members. Let them know that we're in this together. I'm there to provide support. I want to make their jobs easier. And that I also, again, need their help to make this work. So just making sure that they feel heard, understood, and really appreciated. At the end of the day, I'm like, hey, thanks for coming to work today, especially on those days where you have cold weather or it's a
Mm-hmm.
holiday. Thanks for showing up, because without bodies on the floor, I mean, there's many a times I've been out there in a chemical suit cleaning a fryer or a silo or a soak tank or whatever, because you got to get the job done at the end of the day.
Yeah. But being thankful, right, and grateful and voicing it, right? Voicing it randomly, not just in your quarterly town halls, right?
Mm,
But really having those connection points to say, thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for scrubbing this, right? Like, yeah, your job title, yes, we know you're responsible for it, but the fact that you're doing it according to procedure, right? And being present here, so there's not a safety issue or a food safety issue, like that takes a lot of motivation and time, especially if someone has, things happening outside of work, right?
mm.
Or they're thinking about a million other things. The fact that they're giving attention to this, like to say thank you and be grateful for that goes such a long way.
Especially when your team member goes above and beyond, that high attention to detail. They take on projects with maybe some extra time that they have in their day
Yeah.
to initiate, some other projects, or help maybe another team member that's new to the team as far as training and just giving them the support and sharing knowledge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And
go
I
ahead.
was going to say, and you know, we see more, and you know, we've always had high turnover in the food industry, but even in our, you know, whether it's frontline and even middle managers and now even senior leaders, there's a lot of shifting happening right now because of things like lower birth rates. We don't have as many people like
Yeah.
coming into these spaces. We also have baby boomers retiring.
Mm-hmm.
The latest stat I had is still 10,000 baby boomers retire a day. And so
Wow.
people are changing seats and roles, and that creates a lot of, you know, new and uncertainty or instability, I think is the term that you used for the
Mm-hmm.
people that are still there.
Mm-hmm. Mhm. And even when we think about leadership, even younger generations, right, are looking at, I don't know if I want to take that on.
Oh, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
It
that's
is. It's a big responsibility. I think another issue with maintaining team members or not having to go through a lot of that turnover in sanitation is the majority of facilities have off hour sanitation. So you're
Mhm.
coming in at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., you're working the weekends, the middle of the nights, you're working the holidays because that's your only planned downtime
right.
oftentimes. And
Yeah.
that can be difficult, especially for people who have families, who want a work
Mhm.
life balance, who want to be able to have dinner with their families or go to their kids' soccer game. So that can also be a challenge.
A big challenge, a big
Mhm.
challenge. So we've talked a little bit about leadership along the way, of course. And so I'm curious, from your perspective, why would you consider coaching and training such a critical piece of food safety leadership?
Tia, that's a great question. At the end of the day, with proper food safety training, we can help prevent foodborne illness, disease, and the potential loss of life. So that's the first foundational purpose for proper training and onboarding, along with the fact that teaching those whys of food safety. So oftentimes you're going to just say, hey, get out there and get it done and get it done quickly. Well, you're
Mm,
not telling them why following the SSOP is so important or why preventing cross contamination. Connecting the cause and effect makes their learning and their actions more sustainable and meaningful, along with the fact that I would never expect somebody to be successful at anything, myself included, without the proper training, knowledge, education, and support.
right. Yes.
And at the end of the day, we are help building tomorrow's leaders by
Mhm.
empowering them with knowledge. And I think
Mhm.
that's one of the best things we can do because we constantly need new people and passionate people and knowledgeable people to carry on this message of food safety and to do the work.
Mhm.
Yes. Yes. Oh, 100%. Right. Sharing that education, that knowledge. And I will also add, like, going deeper and understanding, why do they do the role? Right?
Mhm.
Why is this important to them? This is why we have this SOP. This is why we clean the way that we clean. This is how it impacts our consumers. Why does that person even care about those things? Right?
Hmm.
What does that person get out of making sure that we have safe food, right? Making sure that we have clean equipment, making sure, insert whatever their role is that they're responsible for, but even connecting it to their own personal values and beliefs.
Mhm.
I think that's a really great point, Tia. We really need to make food safety personal for it to be effective.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember in my early days learning about food safety and outbreaks and recalls. One of the first stories I remember learning was about the Peanut Corporation of America.
Mm-hmm.
Devastating impact to the lives that were lost. Naturally, those people deserve to serve prison time for the outright um, neglect that they took for everybody's lives. But oftentimes, I'll ask my team members, does is anybody allergic to, let's say, nuts or dairy? Do you have a family member who has food allergies? Have you ever eaten something that's made you sick and you've been hung over the toilet for 2 or 3 days?
Right.
So, and then, being able to really use stories of real life individuals who've lost a family member or whose family members still suffering from the complications of foodborne disease can make a huge
Mhm.
impact.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, I think, even as we've been talking about this, it's really how do we help people in this space? And this is once again a responsibility of a leader to help inspire our team members to go beyond just, I come here and I do the motions and I
Right.
don't care about it.
Right.
Like creating that culture of where people feel valued and they feel inspired and see that what they are doing links to all of those things, keeping people safe, making sure people aren't ill, but also contributes to the business
Mm-hmm.
in what ways is really powerful. because we all want to know that we matter.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't think I've ever met anyone working in food that did not care about what they do.
Mhm.
Like, not one person. Even with people say, oh, that person doesn't care or this person doesn't care. Once I talk with them, right, and I really dig into why they're here, why do they do that, why do they show up every day, right, you realize that they do care. They might not care about the things you feel like they should care about. That's something different, right? But they really do care about something that's happening here. And if they're a
Mhm.
squeaky wheel, I remember talking about this with one of our clients of like, if there's a squeaky wheel, it's squeaking for a reason,
Mhm.
right? There's something there, and you might not find it to be important, but as a leader, right, they are squeaking out to you as a leader. Find out what all that squeaking, what's happening with all this squeaking, and how do we help correct it, right? Or, even empower, right? Like, I love it when I have a squeaky wheel and I just need to empower them, right? To manage that. And then the squeak goes away,
Mhm.
right? But that takes leadership skills to do. It's not easy.
Yes. Tia, that reminds me of a story of one of my team members. I've had a few similar to this, but one in particular. So he was always rather agitated, disgruntled, not in an aggressive way, just not content, malcontent.
Mhm, mhm,
And it took him a while to kind of like, it took me a little while to get to the root of what was going on. And he's like, boss, he's like, I live with roommates and we all have different schedules, and the schedule that I'm working now, the shift that I'm on now, when I go home, everybody's awake. I can't get any sleep. And
mhm.
without sleep, I get irritable. I think we're all the same. So despite the fact that I couldn't just move people around, I promised him, I said, team member, the first chance I get to and have an opening on the shift that you want to move to, I promise you, I'm going to enact that move.
Mm.
Moving him to that other shift that aligned with his work life balance and enabled him to get sleep at home. He was and still is my all-star team member.
Wow.
Attention to detail. I never have to ask this guy to go and dust something or detail clean something. He is out there and he works one of my hardest areas because it's cold and there's a lot of traffic and there's a lot of mess. And I've even recognized and rewarded him during employee appreciation events, but it made such a tremendous difference. I mean, like I would call him my all-star.
Wow. Just that shift.
Mhm.
Hmm.
And just think about if you had left him where he was and just how disengaged he was, right? And how much the organization was not getting from him because of this one thing did not align with what's happening in his life. That shift, right, caused that employee to be so much more engaged.
Mhm.
And we know that leads to better outcomes for organizations.
And it sounds
Yes.
like just for him personally, like a game changer.
Yeah.
So as leaders, but also as humans, how do we help identify those places where we help people thrive?
Yes.
That's part of that, I think, as we even started this conversation, like that is the level of responsibility that we have for people.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. And I think that story goes into the next question on like how do you inspire teams to go beyond compliance, right? And truly embrace food safety as a core value. I'm curious, like with that example, I see it clearly on just that alignment, right? And
Mhm.
their well-being. But I'm curious, what would you add to that on how you inspire people to go beyond compliance and really embody it?
Well, I think as leaders, it's so important, number one, that we're passionate, knowledgeable, and dedicated to our roles,
Mm.
caring for those in our care, and really supporting and nurturing their growth. But leading by example is one of the most fundamental things you can do to shift or strengthen or build a food safety culture. When you show up and you are consistent and you show your teams that you're dedicated to food safety, doing things the right way, not once in a while, but all the time, and
Yeah.
you're invested in that, it becomes a lot easier for them to buy in and to invest in
Mhm.
what's going on, because they want to be part of that positive energy. They want to be able to be experts in their own right, or within their own functions.
Yeah.
And I think it also goes back to having clear and open communication,
Mhm.
having proper onboarding and training.
Mhm.
And with that proper onboarding and training, you can then hold people accountable.
Mm. Mhm.
So I think accountability is another thing that is really essential when it comes to that, but also commitment to continuous improvement.
Mm.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite things is reward and recognition. So at one of my other facilities, we did food safety training and regulatory training, but I wanted to really inspire my teams to have food safety conversations and think and prioritize food safety on a daily and weekly basis.
Ooh, yeah.
So what I did was I created a food safety question of the week. I bought a
Ooh.
case of Hershey candy bars. I would post a food safety question of the week. And when I presented this new program to my team, I said, I don't care how you get this answer. You can go talk to anybody in the entire facility. You can talk to one of your friends that works at another facility. You can Google it. You can ask a friend. Really, it didn't matter to me how they came to the answer. The fact that they were having those conversations, and everybody in the entire facility was welcome to participate. And then I would collect all the answers, put the right answers or the correct answers together, and then I would draw a winner every week. And of course, I would announce it, post, who the winner was, really celebrate them. And having that engagement on a weekly basis, creating that conversation surrounding food safety was so dynamic.
Yes, I love that. That's such
Mhm.
a great idea. And I love it that you went a step farther than what we typically see around like rewards and recognition, is that you actually encourage this conversation.
Mhm.
And I think that that's different because you are looking at that human interaction, right? Between each other, they're building community within each other. They're talking about it. They're discussing. They're saying, "I think this is the right answer. No, this is what I do, right? Well, this is what I do. Well, let's find out what the answer is, right? So we
Mhm.
can do what the answer is." And I love that. That's an awesome idea.
Mhm.
I hope other people implement it at their facilities. I think it's just a great tool to really prioritize food safety. And
Mhm.
oftentimes, as leaders, we don't have the answers. We go talk to other experts in our industry. We
Yeah.
get online, we Google things, we look for research documents, we're on LinkedIn, we're reading books. And
Mhm.
that's what makes us more effective
Yeah.
as leaders. And it's the same with our team members.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Mhm. Yeah, we
Yeah.
can't do this alone.
Yeah. And I like that it gives space for people who have different ways of perhaps engaging or even wanting to learn or be involved.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, if you've watched our show a few times, Tia's the extrovert, I'm the introvert. So typically when there's trivia, the extrovert's like, I know the answer. And I'll be like, I know the answer. But even the way that you talk about sharing this, it allows people to have conversations that they feel comfortable inviting them in. It
Mhm.
also makes someone like me as an introvert comfortable to be like, I can write my answer down and submit
Mhm.
it
Yeah.
without having to do it in front of everyone. It's safe.
Yeah.
Yes.
And even celebrating probably can be, like you can celebrate it and you can go all out for maybe the extroverts or maybe even introverts who want that. But
Mhm.
it gives some leeway so that people, hopefully inviting them in and right, encouraging them to be part. It's part of
Yeah.
the belonging.
Yeah. Yes. I'm curious in the comments too. Is this an idea, or do you do something similar at
Yeah.
your facilities? We would love to hear.
Well, and even, yeah, I want to hear that, but I'm also curious because, part of what you're doing is helping influence how people are
Mhm.
seeing what food safety is like and being in this space, which is a really important characteristic for any leader, but I'm a little biased specifically in food safety because of some of the perceptions we have.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm curious, like, what advice would you have for technical professionals who want to go even further to improve how they can influence across functions or even within their teams?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think first and foremost, Jill, is that influence for me is about connecting authentically to people.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have a chance to connect with them, you're going to naturally be interested in their needs. And when you
Mhm.
have a chance to understand what their needs are or their agenda is, then you can better align your needs with their agenda or their method in which they view things.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a great way to be able to initiate that influence. But influence starts with daily conversations. I can't just show up at your office on a Friday afternoon and say, "Hey, Jill, by the way, I need this done and I need it done now," and expect you to have your support. If I don't talk to you on a regular basis, or I'm only coming to you when I need something. So again,
Mm-hmm.
having those daily conversations when there are no pressing issues to resolve are instrumental to building that foundation to be able to be influential. But I'll give you two examples from my experience and career. The first is if I need, let's say, a high dollar piece of equipment for my department, and this is not part of my regular budget,
Mm-hmm.
and I need to approach senior leadership. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get three different quotes. Let's say the Rolls Royce, the Cadillac, and the Kia.
Mm-hmm.
Usually I try to make sure my first choice is the Cadillac because I don't want the Kia. But at this point, I have to show them the vast difference in cost. I then also like to relate that to cost savings. So, okay, with going with the Cadillac, well, we're saving the money by not buying the Rolls Royce.
Right.
And then also, as you know, all senior leadership, what's the ROI? Return
Mm-hmm.
on investment. Whether that return on investment includes reduced labor or reduced costs for other equipment. So
Mm-hmm.
that could be really effective when you're talking to leadership. Also, keep it very direct and to the point. They don't like a lot of long conversations. They just want to know what the bottom line is, what the facts are, so they can make the appropriate decision. And then last but not least is compliance. This will help us maintain audit readiness or VIP customer visit readiness and be able to, elevate the level of service that we're providing here on site. My second example is working with maintenance. Sanitation and maintenance often work very closely together.
Mm-hmm.
And as sanitation leaders, we will submit a lot of work requests because we're out there working intimately with that equipment. We know when it's making a weird sound.
Right.
Uh, Sounds have been one of my biggest tells, and I can hear metal on metal. I can hear those ball bearings, going out. So, you'll have lots of work requests in, but if you need to maintenance to prioritize fixing one of those work requests, let's say it's reducing efficiency, the line's not running right, you're having unplanned downtime, or potentially it could be a safety issue.
Yeah.
When and if it is a safety issue, I like to rally support of other leaders. I'll go talk
Mm-hmm.
to EHS. I'm like, you know what, this could potentially cause somebody to become injured. This could cause a number of other problems or potentials. I don't want to see anybody not be able to go home to their families at the end of the day. Can you help support me in talking to maintenance and prioritizing getting this done? The other approach is talking to maintenance directly and just being like, I know how overwhelmed you are because they're often overwhelmed, especially in facilities with a lot of equipment. So just saying, I know you're really busy, but will you please prioritize getting this done? And thank you. So please and thank you goes a very long way.
It does. Elena, you touched on so much around influence, and we have a whole module in boot camp on influence, as well as a workshop focused on how to gain those influence skills. And there's so many methods around influence, but I love the way you started it with it starts with relationships,
Mhm.
right? It starts with those conversations. And in order for you to go up and say, hey, like, we need to prioritize this work order, or hey, safety manager, right? We Can you help support me here? That influence goes a long way when you and the safety manager has a relationship, right?
Mhm.
And he understands or she understands where your priorities lie, right? And what you're trying to do and how you're trying to move forward towards, right, the common North Star. Or that your maintenance tech, right, understands, okay, if Elena's coming to me and saying this is a priority, it's a priority because they worked with you to understand
Mhm.
those pieces, and you have those conversations, you have those relationships. So that's one thing that stood out to me in your stories, is just the importance of relationship building, and how then influence is then a lot more successful when you do have those connections.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
I have one other tip I'd like to share when it comes to influence and building those relationships. Again, I love to feed people. I like to cook. So, feeding people and caring for people, nurturing people is just something that's part of my personality. So, I have, again, back to a case of candy bars. In my office at all times, I'll buy a case of, let's say, Reese's peanut butter cups from Amazon, get them shipped to the house because who's got time to run to the store? And I keep these candy bars in my office and I call them smile makers. So if I'm just popping in to, check in with my GM or my plant manager or the safety EHS, I'll just occasionally pop in and be like, hey, just wanted to say hi, happy Valentine's Day, or how was your weekend? Oh, brought you a little treat.
Mhm.
So being able to show just appreciation and care for people on a daily basis, when I need those 2 minutes or those 5 minutes,
Mhm.
they are a lot more interested and welcoming, and they're more willing to create that time, just no matter how busy they are. So smile makers goes a long way. And who doesn't love chocolate?
Right, exactly. You know,
Yep,
candy.
I second that.
Yes.
I find cookies go a long way.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Mhm. Right, which is an influence method,
It
right?
is.
It
Yes,
is
it is.
an influence method. People in a positive mood, right? Share some gifts. It is actually a method because it taps into human behavior,
Mhm.
right? Like, we're more likely to make more positive decisions if we're in a positive mindset.
Mhm.
That's just human behavior. So if we need to talk about something, right, that might not be the most pleasant conversation, let's get in a good mood first so that we can
Hmm.
all feel the good positive energy, but then also, right, chemically what's happening in your brain, right, is releasing these chemicals of gratitude and positivity. That's all happening so that when we talk about what we need to do moving forward, right, we're already in that mindset together.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yes. It can also be great too if you sometimes have um, overtime that's not filled, or you need somebody to come in on a weekend, or your team member goes above and beyond. And you're like, hey, thank you for, and being sincere in that show of appreciation and gratitude. Thank you for, and being very specific. Here's a candy bar, or you did a great job. Wow, I was very impressed with the outcome of that. So.
Mhm.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
And every one of our commenters said that communicating gratitude is crucial in all relationships.
It is.
Auditors and inspectors appreciate it too.
Mhm.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes. Well, I'm always amazed at how quickly our time goes together. And so I don't want us to end without asking you about, you've been doing book giveaways,
Yes.
and this kind of creating this community of supporting food safety professionals and leaders in the industry. Would you tell us more about that?
Jill, thank you, Jill and Tia. Thank you for the opportunity to share the information of the book giveaway. So, my co founder, Michelle Wilsian, and I were discussing books on LinkedIn. As you'll find, I often discuss books quite a bit. So, we started this discussion showing each other our professional reading libraries, and we posted pictures. And as we're talking about these books, Michelle's like, oh my gosh, we should give away our books. And I was like, there is no way I'm giving away my book. I write it, I highlight. Like
You're
these
like,
books
time
really, yeah, they become my reference library. And so as this conversation continued, I was like, well, what about if we buy new books and we give them out to, individuals in food safety and leadership? So we determined that was going to be our plan of action. We currently have a program where we give away 6 books every year. Michelle and I both personally financially support this program. And to be able to, or to be eligible to win, you simply like and share our post, and then you send either Michelle or I a direct message sharing with us why you have been, or what led you into food safety or leadership, and why that particular book would be a benefit to you. So this month's book is Beartown, and we'd like to thank Jill for this recommendation.
Which
Again,
actually
there's
came from somebody else, Liz Lynch. She often is joining us. So, Liz, if you're out there, this is the circle or the path you've created for us.
Mm-hmm.
yes, thank you, Liz. But again, there's absolutely no purchase, no cost to participate. Michelle and I have had a lot of support throughout growing our careers, and we're passionate about giving back to our community, supporting up and coming food safety leaders and professionals within our industry. So it's just something that we do to help build a stronger community, and it's a great way for us to give back. And oftentimes, we also have partnered with Louisiana State University. So college students can often be pretty strapped for cash, and it can be great opportunity for them to be able to read books that other industry professionals are reading that can really help develop their leadership skills or food safety knowledge. So if any of you have other universities that you are an alma mater to, we would love to partner with other universities as well. And I have one, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, this is amazing.
Mhm.
I have one other topic I'd like to discuss while we're talking about books. Hold on. So, for any of you that don't know about Jill and Tia's Catalyst Book Club, it's absolutely free to join as well. No
Mhm.
purchase required as a member of the Catalyst community. All you have to do is go in and RSVP for
Mhm.
our monthly book club meeting. It's a great way to find a new lens to look at life, whether that's personally or professionally. You'll come across some amazing books. It's something positive you can do for yourself as a food safety professional or leader. And it's a great chance to connect with other professionals within the industry. This happens to be our book that we'll be discussing March 12th.
Mhm.
And the title is What We Say Matters. So I've been reading this book, and I'm not going to give you any more information. I want you to go out and discover it for yourself. But join Catalyst Book Club and do something meaningful for yourself and connect to the rest of the community.
Oh, well,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
We did not tell Elena to do this, like at all. We appreciate that. We really do because, our book club, like you said, is just this way to bring us together to talk about these very critical topics, right? When it comes to leadership, and really, I can't take like any of the credit. Jill has done an amazing job of putting this book club together, and I say this every time we talk about it. And I know that I'm in this space, and Jill is my partner in crime here. But this is honestly the best book club I've ever been a part of. Like, it makes me want to be a part of it, and the discussions and the conversation and just the questions that Jill curates to bring us together. I mean, honestly, it's all Jill. I cannot take any responsibility for book club at all. And it's honestly one of the best ones that I've been a part of, if not the best one, because I typically drop off. I drop off of them, but I've been reading, I've been a part of the conversations, and it's just been amazing.
I would absolutely second that. It is my favorite book club that I've ever been a part of. And just really being able to personally relate to different books and different facets, but having the opportunity to see how other people relate to the information or their
Yeah.
takeaways, it really gives you a more in-depth perspective to, wow, there can be so many meanings to this. And I think that's just really evidence of life and us as
Mhm.
individuals and us as a community. So there's always so many facets to a diamond, and together we are really more brilliant.
Yes.
Yes.
I think you've hit that nail. That kind of sums it up really well. We've been so fortunate to have the people that join our book club are making it what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So we just get to create the container for everyone to come together. So we are honored and grateful that people are taking the time and finding it valuable enough to be here and in the space with us. So
Yes. And show up the way that that's authentic to yourself. I literally just had a conversation with a boot camper. We were doing one of our check-in meetings. And one thing that she talked about with book club is the last book club meeting I had Tiana with me. And so she was there. I think maybe it was a snow day or something. I can't remember why she was at home, but it was completely unplanned. And she was there with me. Right. And this boot camper is a new mom, and for her it was like, wow, like I really can be a mom, be a working mom, right, still be able to take care of my baby as well as still develop myself and still get my job done. And I'm like, wow, she got all of that from me trying to juggle Tiana while also trying to be a part of book club. But it just reminds you, right? And this is really the community we're building, right? And we hope to even accelerate through the industry, is that when we show up as ourselves, as our complete selves, we inspire people to be better versions of themselves, right? And that inspiration continues to flow through the industry so that we're all thinking, wow, I can do this. I can be myself. I can be a mother, a father, a sister, right? A grandfather. I can be all of these pieces and still be successful. And that is what we want people to walk away from. Every time they do anything with us, we want people to walk away that I am enough being who I am, and I can make an impact in the work that I do.
yeah. And here's one of my other plugs. If you sign up to be part of the community by tomorrow, there's going to be an announcement for something big that Tia and I have been dreaming about for a couple of years.
Yes.
And we are finally having it come together. But our community is going to be the first ones to hear about it.
Yes.
And have the first chance to take action on it.
Mm-hmm. So you can sign up on our website to be a part of our community, and you will get that special announcement tomorrow.
You will.
That is very exciting. Very exciting. And back to your point, Tia, when we show up authentically and are just honest and human, when I started posting book reviews on LinkedIn, I just kind of did it because it was something I was interested in. I didn't realize how many people I was going to engage and connect with, and how, now I'm like probably called that book lady or something like that. But, inspiring others to continue their commitment to continuous improvement, and just being able to connect with people and share our love and passion of learning and books. And it's really what makes being authentic and being yourself really was so meaningful.
Yeah.
Oh, we love that.
Yes.
Oh, gosh. Well, once again, our hour goes so quickly. But I love this conversation around, right, taking care of people. When people thrive, business outcomes are easier. And as leaders, our goal should be helping people thrive.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Love that.
Thank you, Elena, for being on our... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say thank you so much for having me. This has been an honor and so inspiring.
It has been an honor for us to have you on our show to share, right, your experience and your perspective. And I mean, it's been fantastic. So thank you for being here with us. Thank you to our audience for commenting, for participating, right, for being here and sharing. We love that engagement. And we will be back next week. We actually have a special one that we have coming up next week. So if you follow Catalyst, right, if you follow our wonderful friends out there in the industry, we cannot wait till next week because we got a lot to talk about.
Are we talking about Wednesday at noon?
Yes. Yep. We're going to start the webinar Francine's been putting together about communication, and there's going to be a panel, and Brian, I see Brian's on here. Brian will be part of that as well. So we're really excited to all come together and talk about communication in food safety.
Yes.
A conversation you will not want to miss. So you better log in, stay tuned.
We're excited about it. We are. All right. Well, we will see you all next week. Have a great rest of your week.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.